One, and welcome back, everybody, after a little bit of a break. We are here again with, I think we can still call this Will and Jerod Make a Game since Jerod is here, even though maybe this particular episode is kind of a more fun, general sort of thing. We wanted to send everybody off with kind of a year end recap, year in review, highlight reel type of thing. So thanks for joining us for that, Jerod.
Hey,
Joining
no,
us.
thank
I
you
like,
so much. Thanks for having me on our show. It's great to be
yeah.
here. Happy to be here. Yeah, my name is Jerod Leopold, and yeah, this is a part of Will and Jerod Make a Game.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty simple, straightforward thing here. So over the course of the last year, it feels like I've done a lot, but I think in the end, it's really not um, as much as I would have thought. As far as things that got published this year, I think honestly it was just the Infinite Ashcan and a couple kind of supplemental pieces for the Tension Engine SRD, some extra classes and stuff, and yeah, nothing too crazy on that. Tried to run a jam again. I think to mixed success. Not as many folks um, published something in the end as I might have hoped, but we did have some good discussion for a little while in the server with various people that joined. Um, and I definitely joined a couple other jams this year that I didn't follow through on. The one page jam, I did not wind up making a
Oh
game this year.
no, shoot.
Yeah, and I joined Fari's oh shoot, which this wasn't Breathless, that was a couple years ago. What was the new
Yeah,
one he was just talking about when we had him on the show?
yeah. It's the of song and
Oh yes, Carried in Songs and Sagas.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I did not wind up putting something together for that.
That's the one
Oh
jam
well.
I didn't get anything out for either. Was that one? I got all the materials, I got ready, and then just got busy on that one actually.
Yeah. How about other projects for this year? Do you I mean I know you published something for the Tension Engine Jam,
I
but I'm
did.
assuming probably some other stuff too.
Well, I got Legends of the Cursed Riders was my big one. Otherwise, it was all kind of stuff to help supplement other stuff. Like I got a Goblin Market trilogy out. I think that was this year. Um, and it's one of those things that going through it and looking back, things that I would change automatically. Like I know I think that might have been last year actually, but like going through the process now of DAI arting all of my
Mhm.
old stuff. So just in the project of that, we recorded a ton of episodes. We got to interview a bunch of people, right? So I don't want to say we didn't, get
That's true.
anything
Those are
done this year.
those are really good points. We interviewed some really cool people.
Yeah, and I've gotten a lot of great play testing done this year. And I did something way outside of my comfort zone this year that I had never done before, which was I'm just sitting down to go through all of the stuff that I want to get done for next year, trying to really get a good goal thing out. Pardon me.
Mhm.
Whew, for those of you not on video, that was an awesome sneeze. The is I did my first convention. Um,
Yeah. How'd that go?
so that was it's like I've gone to conventions and I've played in conventions, but I've never run things at a convention specifically for marketing purposes. Um, I did Gamacon last year, and Gamacon's coming up again here in a couple months here in Iowa City, Coralville area this time, and it was awesome. It was it, there's a lot of times when you're hanging out just doing this thing, going through the grind of making games, and sometimes you don't quite see the value at times. You're not getting as much fun out of it as you're putting into it, right? Take your game, run it for people that want to be at a gaming convention, sign up for your game, and you will get immediate, awesome feedback. Get to meet a bunch of people, and it was fantastic. It was great. It was great. And because of that, I did Party First for the Raspy Raven Cold War little season that they did. I just did Illusions of Horror Con, which was a couple
Oh,
weeks back. I did Legends of the Cursed Riders for that one. And like when you do these things, you really get a feeling for what your game kind of looks like out in the wild, you know?
yeah.
And for two of the players, they're like, this made their con. And
Oh, awesome.
they were playing 4 games over the course of 4 days, and they're like, "This is the one that was awesome." And it was
Oh,
just like,
that's great to hear.
yeah, it was very much like, oh, fantastic. And so I'm starting to run more games online, and so like I'm making out my schedule for this year for online and trying to get out to places to run it in person. So that was running stuff. Took up a lot of my time this year.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a great problem, I'm gonna
Mhm.
put here in quotes, to have.
Yeah, for sure, for
Well,
sure.
good. Well, if I might throw another one at you here. I know we're mostly just all talking tabletop RPG stuff, but
Yeah.
if you were to pick a highlight over the year that is not tabletop RPG,
Ooh.
could be a video game, could be
Mm.
board game, card game, something else, just not RPG. What would be your highlight?
Non-RPG highlight in my life. Um, Boy, that is a great question.
Well, it doesn't have to
And
be your whole life.
honestly,
That's a deep question.
yeah,
I was just
you
meaning
know,
gaming, but not RPG.
oh, gaming wise, that's not RPG.
I thought that
Unfortunately,
might be easier to think of.
you know what? I'll make it. I don't get to do a ton of gaming outside of it. Like I've got some board games I get to go back on, which is awesome. I've got a handful of standards. I've got a little group of friends that we get to play, which is awesome. Like the Dune is fantastic and all that. But honestly, as far as gaming goes, uh, I got to go play less frisbee golf than I would have liked to do this year.
Okay, okay.
But I finally broke the 300-foot barrier. I've only been doing it for a couple of years, and that for me was a big one to get to like to 350 or so on drives. Now I've lost it totally over the winter. I'm going to totally lose it, and so I'll have to
Oh,
go. It takes about another
yeah.
month to get back into it to try and get back to there, and hopefully I can get a little bit further. So for me, yeah, it was actually that kind of accomplishment because I don't really get to do a bunch of video gaming. Murphy kind of takes up a lot of my time, which is a good problem to have. How
Yeah.
about
Oh,
you?
definitely, definitely. Well, I'll start by saying I didn't realize you were a disc golf guy. That's a few friends are into that. I've never really seriously played anything, but it seems like a good time.
Yeah, it's a if nothing else, it's a great excuse to walk around. It's just
Yeah,
the same metaphor for
outside.
golf. Yeah, outside. Yeah, for sure. There's some beautiful courses out here, and it's just nice, especially during the fall, spring, to force
Mhm.
yourself to get out there because I found out I'm terrible at making myself do stuff unless there's an
Mm,
activity. Like, so that
yeah,
that really
no,
helped
that
me
makes
out.
sense.
And plus, right now, like probably the best in the world is Gannon Burr, who's from Iowa. Like this year, I'm gonna try and go over and play on his course over in Des Moines. Like I think that'll be something fun to do, and it'll just make me feel miserable because I'm sure it's like way too hard for me to do. But I'm excited to do it anyway.
Hey, it's worth a shot. It's worth
Yeah,
trying.
right. How about you? What was
Yeah.
a good gaming moment for you?
I think this one's gonna be kind of a, I don't know, little more nebulous. It's gonna be a game in general. And there's a little more to this, which you'll be familiar with some of it, which is that it's Star Wars Unlimited. And
Yeah,
the fact that I have wound up loving it kind of in spite of myself, or maybe in spite of FFG.
sure.
Um, Jared knows we've been burned by them many times over
Yeah.
the years, and I honestly thought I was done with them. Not actually like, angry, shaking my fist at them, but just like,
Yeah.
after Game of Thrones ended, and the card game, that is, not the TV show. And I just found myself, I used to be checking their website all the time. I was excited for Black Friday sales and announcements and new stuff, and I just realized there was just this void there that just there was no interest whatsoever.
Yeah.
Um, and then a bunch of our old gaming buddies across the U.S. basically were getting into Star Wars, and they kept so many of them, and spread all over the U.S. kept telling me it's great. You got to give it a try. You got to give it a try. And dag nabbit, it is a really good game.
Of games, card games that are out there, so Paulie, weigh in on the Star Wars Unlimited. He's gotten me to play a few times, and
Yeah.
I dig on it. It's pretty good. I can see that. And now, but you've like gone to tournaments, yeah?
A little bit, nothing too much. Mostly just all stuff here in town.
Yeah.
But it's been a good time, and I know a few other folks have like traveled in. Folks that used to travel here for Game of Thrones stuff came down for tournament back in the spring. So
Yeah. Right on.
yeah. Well, I know we said we wanted to keep this short and focused. So, one last topic,
Okay.
one last kind of year in review question. We're going to sandwich that. We're going to go back to RPG stuff.
Okay.
So, if you were to pick your one highlight for an RPG moment this year, discovering a new game or something just awesome that happened during one you were
Yeah.
playing or running, whatever that might be, what would be your tabletop highlight?
I've had
Tabletop
a
RPG.
I've had a lot of great moments this year. Part because I've gotten to play so much. There's nothing like the feeling like when you have built something and you see it click for someone else and then they take it on to the next level. And I think with what we've put together, like I cobbled together with uh Legends of the Cursed Riders, and I'd like to and I think we're gonna pour it over some of the ideas over to Honor Bound. But the moment on the tension table where it broke during the horror game, and the first prompt for the break was, how did the Baroness, this person that you owe these 10 souls to, like she took your memory because you did something in your past that you could not live with, right? And the first prompt is, how did you get recruited by the Baroness? And it was actually during that con that this guy got into it, like his character. Um, they had just forced a possession out by feeding him a three wise men shot, basically, and like it just this, which is a
Okay, that's
vile
awesome.
alcoholic booze drink.
Uh-huh.
And then he told this story about how his character, who has was like tormented by voices in his head and all this stuff, and had come to America. The voices followed him, and he was going to end it all, actually. And so he actually was going to take a bunch of pills, and then the Baroness comes in, force feeds him the shot of the three wise men to vomit it all back up, and she's like, "You're not done yet. You're coming to work for me." And like the whole table, like we got chills, and it was just like that was a moment that a player put together, wanted to explore that space, felt comfortable enough to do it, that this game allowed him to do, and we're all just like phenomenal, just floored. And that while that was very adult subject matter, it was an amazing gaming moment when we're all just sitting there listening to him tell his like little 5-minute vignette for how he got recruited. And it's like, blew me away.
Oh, that sounds awesome. That
Yeah,
that kind of buy-in, that's good stuff.
for sure. How was it for you? What's your big moment?
Honestly, I think I'm going to go hard the opposite direction of you. That was a very serious storytelling moment that had a lot of impact. I'm going to go with a really recent moment. I told you I was running
Yeah.
a theoretical one shot of Party First last night for a buddy from my hometown and his two kids, who are like 10 and 12. And
Yeah. Just for people
so
who don't know, Party First is a horror genre game, 1980s alternate history Russia. So,
yeah.
if they're 10 and 12, they're for sure getting the whole gist of everything, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they're into all of it. He
Yeah.
he did say, to kinda, I think, set the mood, they had watched The Thing together as a family, last week.
Yeah.
So, like, the kids are into that kinda thing,
Okay.
so
They're in.
but so my buddy was playing a character who is the assistant mayor of this hometown. He's a Soviet. He's very he's kind of the face of the group, but he's very like pompous, self-important, shallow guy and whatever, and is a coward in the end. So they're off to find out what caused this mysterious thump upstairs in this creepy orphanage. And his daughter, by the way, is playing a 10-year-old, a brand new orphan to the orphanage that has gotten wrapped up in this. And so they get up to the top of the stairs, and there's an open door, and I'm trying to find out what they're going to do, and he actually in the end makes a compelling enough argument that his character would throw the orphan like through the open door, or like shove her through, to have her check things out inside. And he made a compelling enough argument to convince me that yes, that would be a vigor plus investigation check. And I was
Oh,
like, yeah, all right, you know what? I gotta give you this one.
well, just a little canary in the coal mine, but, it's a child in a haunted orphanage.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
All right. I was excited to hear how that went. I cannot wait to hear more.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll break that down off
Yeah,
air. I think probably
for sure.
we're keeping this episode laser focused compared
Yeah,
to usual.
for sure. What's the thing that you kind of wish had got done for 2024 that you'll think you're going to knock out of the park in 2025? Is there a
Oh,
game that you
I
want to get
mean,
done? Is
there's a
there
a long list of stuff I wish we'd done, but is it
yeah,
too trite to say Honor Bound? I think we're gonna knock
honor
Honor Bound out of the park now that we have a timeline. Listeners, after we end this episode, we're gonna be talking about like the rest of the timeline between now and launch, which by the way is February 1st. So go find the landing page for Honor Bound on Kickstarter. You can listen to actual play stuff with Pine and Cthulhu and everything. So yeah, granted,
what's
it may not work exactly the same by the time you get it, but
it
still,
is we're re-engineering a little bit of it. We're just
yeah,
giving it
yeah,
more
yeah.
focus.
We're
It
yes,
ran great beforehand, but I think by adding in these moments with the tension table, I think it's going to take it from this is a good game to like there's not enough games that do this that share like these overcoming things to bond for friendship.
hmm
And this is something that we said all the way a year ago that we're coming back around to and really nailing this mechanic. And I think it's
yeah,
awesome. It's the right time to do it too.
yeah. I think that discussion was that last week or the week before. Week before, I think now,
Yeah.
where we had kind of tried to redefine, okay, when we boil everything away, what is the point of the game? What is the type of story they're telling? I think us really zooming in on that is going to be really good.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Three Musketeers in Space, you gotta do it with the fellowship in mind, right? And that's what the game
Yeah,
should be about. And I'm excited to write more about bonds and wooing and all the stuff, other stuff happening to try and make your group better. So yeah,
yeah,
I think so. Yeah, Honor Bound's gonna be great for 2025. I'm really looking forward to that. Um, yeah, I mean that's gonna be the biggest one, I guess, that I've got too for next year.
yeah. Hey, there's nothing wrong with us shilling it.
Yeah,
In fact, we should.
yeah. That's if we don't do it, who is, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, good. I think that probably covers us for this week, unless there's anything else that you're desperate to fit into the recap or the forward looking.
Nope, just that I'm going to take a couple weeks off for the holidays. I'm going to start recording again on January 5th for session 0 for the new honor bound rules. Again, I shouldn't call them new rules. I should just
Yeah,
I don't know.
refined rules, let's say.
Refined, yeah,
Yeah.
retinkering of the idea, I guess. I don't know. We're gonna do a session 0, and we're gonna do 2 sessions of that, and we'll get it up before the Kickstarter launches to highlight the new stuff on there. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, 2 weeks off. It'll be 3 weeks before the next video is out. And as far as us getting together to do an episode, I don't think we're getting together till a little bit later on in January. Um,
Yeah.
and we're going to know a lot more about where our project is at that point in time. So,
Yep. Should be good. Well,
yeah.
everybody, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next year.
Yeah. See you next year. Bye.